Okay, so this is um, my very sloppy first look slash review of my new mouse. Um, the long delayed Ninox Aurora. Um, I got mine on Friday after ordering it through Amazon and cancelling my pre-order for the official website. So for the past 3 days, it's literally what I've been using, and yeah. So getting down to it, first impressions are very, very positive. I haven't really noticed anything too drastically out of shape when I first received it. I was sort of looking for problems, and if I'm honest, everything that I could find that is a problem is just sort of me getting used to the mouse. Um, so yeah, these things are sort of expected. So some people wanted a decent sort of size comparison with other popular mice. I don't have popular ones, but I do have other mice. Um, this is the Zowie AM that I always constantly used for absolutely ages, and that's the one I'm moving from, and an Abyssus as well. If I pop that up there, it's just so you can sort of get decent size comparison, maybe thickness as well if I can line it up. But yeah, it's a decent size. I don't have any sort of complaints in sort of the size department. Um, everything sort of yeah, it feels very, very nice. The main thing that you'll notice is how light it is. It's 70 grams without the cable. It's crazy light. So light that when I'm actually playing with it, my sensitivity doesn't, or actually feels higher than what it actually is because it is that light. I do sort of struggle to control it sometimes. I've had to lower my sensitivity just to sort of get my aim to a reasonable level again, but I'll be able to lower it back down once I'm sort of used to the sort of the feel and the weight, because it is very, very surprising how light this mouse is. It does obviously feel very, very cheap because of that, but I got it for 30 quid, so I'm not really too bothered. But you know, you're also going to expect some sort of cheaper material or cheaper feeling material, sorry, if you want a light mouse. In terms of everything else, so the mouse wheel button is something that I'm always very picky with when I'm choosing my mice. The Zoe AM was probably the only one that I could actually get used to. I had a G400 which I didn't like. I had a Zoe C1, I think, and I hated the scroll wheel on this one. This one's actually pretty decent. It's a little bit low, so you don't really have. If you can see that, it doesn't really stick out that much, which is maybe my only slight gripe, but that's probably just a personal preference. Um, it feels very, very sturdy when you're scrolling, and clicking it down is also very good. So it also feels quite nice. There isn't sort of a rubbery feedback to it. It's just a straight click down. With previous mice, I haven't really sort of found it, and it's always been a little bit too annoying when I play Dota and I use my mouse button to sort of click and drag the screen around. So it's the main way that I move the screen. So it's good. I can use it and I use it often, so that sort of pleases me. The buttons on the side, I've heard quite a few people sort of disagreeing with how they're placed. Yeah. At first, I felt the same, but I've actually started to get used to it now. The first one, so top one's actually really, really nice. I actually really like it. The one underneath it is a little bit small. So I guess for some people it could be a problem, but if I'm honest, every day goes past, I'm sort of finding it more comfortable to use. However, I wouldn't sort of really bind it to an action that's important when I'm playing video games. Like if I'm playing Dota, Team Fortress, or Counter Strike or something, I normally have. I think on Dota I have it as an item bind, which I've removed because I didn't really feel comfortable pressing it. And then I think Team Fortress 2 and Counter Strike I have it bound to get my melee weapon out, so I've removed that. But if I'm honest, that is probably just literally a case of timing. Now you've got the button that sits underneath the scroll wheel, which changes the DPI. So obviously you get a color visual as to when that's changing. The actual buttons, so mouse 1 or 2, feel very nice. There's no complaints with them at all. They feel very, very standard. Nothing really too alarming. The cable, I've seen quite a few people sort of show a little bit of I don't know, like hate over. If I'm honest, yeah, the cable is a bit stiff. It's quite rigid, but that is somewhat expected when you've just got it, because it is always going to be quite rigid until you sort of start using it more. I always find. I mean, looking at my Zoe Aeon one, the main part where it's going to sort of bend side to side is completely exposed out. So I think it was with the G400 where you had a connection issue at the base of the unit, and it would eventually wear away and you lose connection. Whereas this one's got sort of like a little bit of support coming out of it, so it's not likely to bend so much at the base. As you can see, I've got a mouse bungee anyway, so it's not really much of a problem. But yeah, if I'm honest, it does feel rigid, but as the more I'm using it, it softens up quite a bit. So personally, for me, it doesn't really seem like that much of an issue. Going into and getting the mouse, as I said, it's exceeded my expectations, especially for the price as well. I mean, it is an absolute steal. So yeah, it's very, very sort of pleased with it. I'm trying to not sort of fanboy over it too hard, because obviously I could use it next week and one of the buttons could break or something like that. So sort of have to try and keep yourself down to earth as much as possible. Now the lift-off distance, as far as I know, is 2mm, so that's the lift-off distance for it. Also on the side, you've got a grainy plastic as well, which helps with grip, which does help quite a lot, if I'm honest. And obviously you've got the glossy and matte coating at the top. I don't know if my webcam will focus in on that. It is slightly glossy in parts, but not so much. But yeah, in general, it's really, really, really good. I really like it. You've got the standard polling rates with it, so it's 500, which is the default, and it goes up to 1000. It comes with software as well, so if you want, you can mess around with the software, which I think I can bring up for you if I move this out of the way and actually load it. This is actually one thing I did find a problem with when I restarted my PC, or if I loaded up the software. As you can see, I'm moving my mouse around, and it's not actually picking up what it's actually done. If I can move it back to my webcam, it's actually put it back to the default setting. So it's put it down to the lower setting with just me loading up the software. You don't have to have the software running. If you set your options, close the software and uninstall it, then everything's fine. You can restart your system and it will save your place. But what I just found when I restarted my PC, it wiped like my presets. I haven't tested it too many times to see if it constantly does it. But the last time I just restarted it, it completely sort of wiped my preset and put it back to default. But I'm not quite sure if that was because I had the software running on startup. I have yet to test that out, but I will do it again later. So going back to the software, you have obviously the customizations with the buttons, so you can swap them all around, do what you want with them. Mode settings, you have mode 1, 2, 3. You can set your own color profile if you want the light to breathe or not, and the DPI values as well. So this is just assigned to the button underneath the mouse wheel. Global settings, you obviously have the polling rates that you can select, the Windows pointer speed, enhanced pointer position if you're an animal, and how many scroll wheel lines it does at a time, and double click. So yeah, it's pretty standard. It's pretty decent. Playing games with it, as I said before, I've had to adjust my sensitivity a little bit because it's so light, and I think that's the main thing, and the main thing that's actually pretty good about it is that it is so light, it's really, really comfortable when I use heavier mice. So when I used my Zoe AM on a lower sensitivity, I found my arm would get quite tired after a while. Whereas with this, I'm not actually finding it at all. I think I use 62 centimeters for a 360 with Counter-Strike Global Offensive. With Team Fortress 2, I think I use 23 centimeters for a 360 at the moment. It's the same for Reflex and Quake as well. It's the same sensitivity for those. It's just Counter-Strike that's different. So yeah, all in all, I can't really find anything that's glaringly obviously wrong with it. I'm very, very impressed, especially for the price, and I think that's one thing that's sort of good taken to a factor of it is how cheap it is, how the fact that this isn't a mouse that has like a huge research and develop R&D budget thrown into it. You know, they don't do like a lot of consumer report surveys. This is just sort of from feedback from the maker BST and obviously the people at esreality.com who put a lot of feedback into it over the past few years. And if I'm honest, as much as there's been a lot of shit in terms of actually getting to me, that's somewhat all changed because I'm very, very impressed by this mouse. I would say, you know, if you're still sitting on the edge of buying it or not, maybe wait for a few more weeks or a month just so then you can sort of see if people are actually still enjoying the mice or if they've switched back to the old ones or if they've developed any sort of build quality problems, because when you sort of do go with an unknown maker, you sort of do put that at risk. But as I said, I really want to try and not fanboy as much as I can and sort of get lost in the fact that it's good, and I've only had it for a few days, but it is really, really fantastic. So yeah, I would highly recommend that you grab one up, and yeah, it is really, really, really good. I was sort of, part of me was sort of expecting it to fail, as I said, but yeah, it hasn't. So that is it. I hope you enjoy this. Might do a follow-up in about a month later just to sort of let people know how the mouse is, to see if it's still retained or I still have had the same opinion, because you know, obviously reviews are normally done within that 1 week time span, but it's nice to sort of visit again a month later to see if it's actually worth to continue using or not. Anyway, that is it. Sorry it took so long for me to get this out, but yeah, that is all.